Sorry for the delay, guys. Do the best I can, but sometimes, unfortunately, real life gets in the way. But I am here nonetheless. Got to play a little catch up, and that's what I intend to do this weekend. Anyways, we got another week of the NFL season in the books, so let me go ahead and take a look back at the week that was week 6 of the 2020 NFL season. Looking at the Titans, you got 212 rushing yards from Derrick Henry, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime, as Tennessee comes back to beat the Texans 42-36. Nice try fighting Cornell, just not good enough on that day. The Bengals rushed out to a quick 21-0 lead, but the Colts were able to overcome it. Ended up beating the Bungles 31-27. Is it appropriate to call them the Bungles? Hey, you give up a 21-point lead that you have early in the game, and you let Philip Rivers washed up ass start to roast you? Yeah, you kind of get to get called the Bungles. Look at the Falcons. Get rid of Dan Quinn. It's amazing the miracles can happen. Matt Ryan throws for 4 touchdown passes, and they trounced the Minnesota Vikings on the road 40-23. Cam Newton struggled as a return off of the COVID list. The Broncos defense played really, really well. Broncos end up winning. It was an impressive win for a team that's been depleted by injuries. Denver beats New England 18-12. Riverboat Ron, easy for me to say, rolls the dice late in the game after a touchdown, says, I'm going to go for 2. I'm going to try and win it. He rolled snake eyes. Oopsie daisies. Giants get their first win of the year under head coach Joe Judge, 20-19. The Eagles battled back valiantly, bravely. Carson Wentz gets a lot of crap, but you also got to look, is that team really that good around him? You can maybe say Carson hasn't been that great. Team also isn't that great around him. They battled back, but the 2-point attempt towards the end of the game, a really questionable play call. Ravens have enough. They hold off to win 30-28. The Steelers blasted Baker early, got him bounced from the game, and they were just all over the skid marks. They shit all over the Browns all day long. Steelers win 38-7. Now they're undefeated and leading the AFC North. The Bears defense easily, I think, had its best performance of the year as they stifled the Panthers' running game. They did pretty well against Teddy Bridgewater as well, beating the Panthers 23-16. And now all of a sudden the Bears are in first place in the NFC North. The Lions get 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 from AP, 2 from DeAndre Swift, and they end up with a comfortable victory over the Jaguars 34-16. Flacco's offensive performance was elite at sucking. No surprise here. Dolphins win comfortably, shutting out the Jets this time, 24-0. And by God, you got to admire the persistence and insistence on continuing to keep Adam Gase there. The Jets are taking no chances. They've got delusions of visions of grandeur of Trevor Lawrence in their eyes, and they're going to do everything to figure the best that is to keep Adam Gase at the helm. Interesting strategy, Cotton. Let's see how this works out for them. After giving up 10
early points, the Buccaneers came roaring back, made Rodgers look bad, easily his worst performance of the season. Bucs offense was clicking, Bucs defense was clicking. They rolled and trounced their old NFC Central rivals, the Green Bay Packers, 38-10. The 49ers jumped out to an early lead and had more than enough to comfortably cruise past the Rams on Sunday night, 24-16. And a Monday night doubleheader, and I got to admit, this isn't the worst thing in the world. Maybe we can get rid of the Thursday night game and have 2 Monday nighters instead. It's just a thought. The Chiefs' defense played well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, their rookie, had over 160 yards rushing. They show up in a big way, beat the Bills 26-17. And then the late Monday night game, Kenyon Drake and Kyler Murray shred the Cowboys on the ground. I don't know what that really says because Cowboys' defense is doo-doo! And their offense under Dalton was pretty doo-doo too. Cardinals cruise easily on Monday night, 38-10. When you look at some of the winners and losers from week number 6, the winners, I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're undefeated. Nobody seems to really be talking about them, but they're leading their division. Now they've got a tiebreaker for playoff considerations against the Browns. The Browns have been playing some decent football, and they came out and not only beat the Browns, they bashed the Browns. They embarrassed the Browns. That's the type of victory that you look at the Steelers team and you say, oh, crap. We're all focusing on the Ravens and the Chiefs and maybe the Titans, and all of a sudden you look, and here comes Pittsburgh, and by God, I wouldn't want to underestimate them at this point. Impressive win, big win for them on Sunday. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off of the Thursday night loss to the Chicago Bears. How are they going to respond? Now they got to face Aaron Rodgers, who's coming off of a bye week. Apparently, it was no big concern whatsoever. They beat the crap off of them. They beat the brakes off of them.
So now you're talking about a Buccaneers team that's leading their division, got a victory that could potentially come into play down the road in terms of tiebreakers. Like, this was a big performance for the Bucs on Sunday and cannot be undersold. And for the San Francisco 49ers as well, you look at them Sunday night, they got enough out of the passing game in Jimmy Garoppolo. Guys like George Kittle and Deebo Samuel certainly had an impact on the game, along with first-round rookie Brandon Ayuk. But they were able to contain and really shut down Aaron Donald, make him a non-factor. And for a team like the 49ers, with some of the injury problems that they've had so far this year, for them to even be in a position where they are in that really loaded division with the Seahawks and the Rams and the Cardinals, to get this head-to-head victory was a very, very big win for this team. Absolutely huge. If they lose this game to the Rams, it might be curtains on the season. Now they still have a chance. They still have a chance. When you look at the losers, I got to go to the Patriots. Like, you have Cam back, and he didn't play well. This team didn't play well. And now all of a sudden you're looking at the Patriots, and they're, 2-3? Wow. Yeah. Good luck with that. Not a good performance on Sunday against a decimated and depleted Denver Broncos team, especially. The Cincinnati Bengals, trying not to be too hard on them this year, because this season is all about the development of Joe Burrow. But now that you've got your young quarterback of the future, you're not necessarily trying to tank again, because it's all about his development. It's all about his growth. So you actually do want to win some games. And when you jump out to a 21-0 lead in the National Football League, even though I realize how friendly the league is towards offenses and how teams can put up a bunch of points in a big hurry, you can't give up that type of lead. You can't get up 21-0 on the Colts early and then just piss it all down your leg. You just can't do that, and they did. And sometimes those are painful lessons that have to be learned. You got to lose some of these games before you figure out how to win them. That's true. But this was a game that rightfully the Cincinnati Bengals needed to have, should have had, and they ultimately did not. And then I look at Mike McCarthy shit's about to get real ugly in Dallas really quickly. I was certainly in favor of the Cowboys hiring him because they just needed to move on from Jason Garrett. And here was a guy, for some of the flaws, some of the questions about in-game adjustments and so forth, this was a guy that had won a lot of NFL games as a head coach. This is a guy who has Super Bowl championship experience as a head coach. Lots of playoff experience. Felt like this was a type of presence that you needed. And you could blame the Dak injury or this is that. But that defense has been god-awful. That offense can't figure it out. It's bad. It's really bad. And, now you got to figure out, you don't have Dak that can come and save the day anymore. You got to go with Red Rocket Andy Dalton. You don't have the same offensive line you once did. You got all this talent at wide receiver. Talent is not the issue. This is all coaching and execution. So it's the leadership and it's the players. Because at the end of the day, while the players, especially probably on the defensive side of the ball, can be grumbling about some things, y'all just ass cheeks. Play like damn professionals. And you won't be giving up 38 points a damn game. That's ridiculous. Even coaching can only be but so accountable for that. That's a thing of players only meetings, and y'all chew each other's asses out and say this stops and this stops now. But all the while, you're going to look at what's changed this year. The biggest change, of course, was bringing in Mike McCarthy. I'm supposed to bring a level of expectations, and the expectations right now are doo-doo because this team is playing like doo-doo. And the only saving grace for them is that they play in the NFC. Ooh, gonna get ugly, gonna get hot, gonna get real hot down in Dallas very soon if it hasn't already. Let's give out some game balls for the week.
Matt Ryan, lots of criticism on him right now, but he responded to me. 371 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, got the Falcons their first win of the season. He says, you ain't tanking for Trevor just yet on my watch. Derrick Henry, as I mentioned earlier, 212 rushing yards, 2 TDs, including the game winner in overtime. A big performance. That's the thing with Derrick Henry. He'll put up some of these absolute monster games, and there are other games you're just he's just not much of a presence. But when he puts up the monster numbers, man, he can really put up some monster numbers. And for a big dude like him, the speed that he has is just incredible. Even though it was in the losing effort, I want to call out Justin Jefferson here. A lot of times you worry about these rookie first-round wide receivers, especially guys that you take in the 20s. It might take them a year or two to really get up to NFL speed and get their game NFL ready. This kid has just been dynamic so far. 9 receptions, 166 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You talk about what was a really good wide receiver class. Right now he's playing like the best of the bunch, and that's saying something. So fantastic job by Justin Jefferson. Again, in a loss, and he's having to deal with
the situation in Minnesota. Kirk Cousins is not great. I could go on and on and on. And when you look at defensive units, I got to go with the Steelers. There was a big performance against the Browns on Sunday. They got to Baker early. They roughed him up. He wasn't right. He was hurt, so they had to bounce him from the game. They only allowed 7 points. They forced 2 turnovers, got 4 sacks. It was just more of a statement game of saying, oh, that's cute. You're 4-1. Well, here's your second loss, bitch. And that's basically what you got out of this. At least I did. So great performance by the Steelers defense on Sunday. Mike Tomlin starting to cruise towards that Coach of the Year consideration for sure. And in the 2-minute drill, I just want to talk about something really quickly. You got fan bases like the Jets and the Falcons and the Vikings and some others that are focusing on the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes and tanking for Trevor. And maybe I'll do a separate, longer video about this to really talk about some of the pitfalls and dangers of it. Now, you've even heard me talk about my Bears. Like, what they're doing this year is ultimately going to be a disaster because they're not going to win it all. They're not a contender to win it all. So even if you make the playoffs, all you're doing is it's more of the same mediocrity cycle, and you don't want to be stuck in that place. So I get it. Like, when you're bad, you want to be really bad because that's the best chance you have to get good again quickly. But there's no guarantee that Trevor Lawrence is the top player in that draft coming up, let alone the top quarterback in that draft. And many times you find that the quarterback that's taken first is not the best quarterback in that draft class. See, Lamar Jackson, he was the 5th quarterback taken in 2018 at the very end of round 1, and look what he's doing. Just saying. You also think about it and you say, well, you get the guy at number 1 overall, that's automatically going to change the fortunes of the franchise. Maybe to some degree, but it certainly is not going to guarantee. Ask the Browns how that worked with Tim Couch in 99. Ask the Raiders how that worked with Jamarcus Russell in 2007. I could go on and on and on. Getting that number 1 overall pick and taking quarterback there doesn't automatically mean anything. Look at David Carr for the freaking Texans back in 2002. That don't mean shit. Absolutely nothing. Look at the Colts. They got 3 cracks at the quarterback position at number 1 overall in the past 35 years. 3 of them. Even more, I guess. But you think about it. Not just that, but 3 cracks at truly generational talents. It was John Elway, it was Peyton Manning, it was Andrew Luck. They got all 3 of them. And all the while, they have exactly 1 Super Bowl championship to show for it. And even then, it took 9 seasons to get that with Peyton. So just be careful for some of you that are sitting there itching and moaning for Trevor Lawrence and tanking for Trevor. Sometimes it's not always about the position you get in. It's about what you do with what you got. And tanking isn't automatically a fix for anything, especially if your organization absolutely sucks. See the Jets.